G'day, welcome back. Today just a short video on something which has been on my to-do list for a while, and that's basically just updating the list of which players have played and beaten the most chess world champions. I think it's worthwhile doing that right now because obviously we had a bit of a flux with Carlsen, Ding and Gukesh, so a few more names have been added to the list as potential world champions to have been beaten by other players. And you see this analysis done. I'm basing mine on an old ChessBase article, which I'm updating, but a lot of people do this on blogs and so on, but just my shot at the same thing. So if we quickly go and have a look at the ChessBase article I was talking about, which chess player beat the most world champions? This is actually a really old one. There is more updated stuff. As you scroll down, you can see that this was actually a question by Kasparov and Gelfand, and people came up with the answer back then. We're talking 10 years ago. You can see some people here have done some very detailed analysis. Some of the analysis varies a little bit based on which games are included and so on. The general idea was that you get Keres had beaten 9 world chess champions. Korchnoi had beaten 8. He's up to 9 now. Geller had beaten 8. Larsen had beaten 7. And there was Botvinnik himself, who had beaten 8. And he couldn't beat himself, so this is kind of funny because in Keres's you get Botvinnik's name, but in Botvinnik's you don't get Keres's name. But anyway, so just the idea was to update this. Beliavsky was a quite unusual name there, not regarded really in the top tier of these guys, but he's certainly beaten a bunch of chess world champions, which why he's on the thumbnail, because he's equal most at 9. Okay, so enough the intro. Just sort of the approach I've taken here is use chess database. I used this Lumbris one recently because Kesa seems to be offline and I need some more of the sort of the recent Gukesh games. I'm only doing the 18 sort of classical chess world champions. I think the article here mentions it'd be unfair to include the other chess world champions like Topalov and so on, because you'd end up with 2 chess world champions you could beat at some point in time. And the other thing to think about is what type of games. I would like to filter for classical games, but I don't think I've been able to do that. So that's why I did some numbers and number of games played, but I didn't like it because obviously you get a lot more online games and a lot so on now. And just thinking about the sort of results you'd expect, we've had a bit of a surge in the number of world champions over the last Carlsen, Ding, Gukesh in quick succession, and that's a bit like the period after post-World War II where we had Botvinnik, Smyslov, Botvinnik, Tal, Botvinnik, Petrosian, and so if you've got more chess world champions, you've got more chances to beat more of them. Whereas I think Karpov, 10 years, Kasparov, 15 years, or like Lasker and Alekhine back in those days would be much more difficult to rack up the numbers. Okay, so that's the background. And now what we're going to just quickly do is move across to an Excel capture screen, sort of run you through what I've got here. This is basically the data I collected. I got my list of games. I just used Python to filter through it, and, it was... did somebody beat a chess world champion? Also, did somebody play a chess world champion? So you can see I got the 2 numbers here. Keres beat 9, played 10. Beliavsky 9 and 9. Korchnoi 9 and 11. So you can see this sort of dictionaries from Python, which I've just popped in there. That's the full list. Goes way down. Full list. We're just going to focus on these guys at the top, all big names. Maybe it's easiest to look at it in a sort of chart format. So here we go. Here's what the latest numbers show. Portish actually has played the most world champions, but only beat 6 of them. Riskevsky and Korchnoi also have played 11, and Korchnoi has beaten 9. And you go down a step. Sort of done this by the people who played. I mean, obviously these green lines here, Korchnoi, Keres, and Beliavsky are going to be the winners on the numbers played. And then you can see these other people who are like 1 level down at 8. Larsen, Geller, Anand, Djibojevich, Short, Ivanchuk, Botvinnik, Karpov, Petrosian. So obviously a lot of big Russian names there. I mean, Anand's really come up. Maybe he'll have the chance to win against 9 world champions. Maybe not. Let's see what happens. He's probably the main guy on this list who would still be considered active in inverted commas. And you can see that the players didn't have quite as much chance. Kasparov played 7, beat 7. Karpov played 8, beat 8. Petrosian played 8, beat 8. I mean, obviously, it's a factor of, the frequency of world champions, how many games you can play, and how long you play for, what your longevity is. Right? So that's the sort of summary numbers. And then just quickly, before I wrap up, I thought the nicest way of looking at this is as a heat map. So you've sort of organised, obviously, the world champions across the top in chronological order. And this is kind of quasi-chronological, but anyway. Keres, unfortunately, Believsky, three guys at the top. And you Keres, all the way from Capablanca to Fischer. This is where I started sort of checking the Karpov. I think Karpov was played in 1972 or something before he was world champion. Didn't beat him. Believsky beat everybody. See the gap? A lot of people, they've got this Fischer gap. Because obviously after Fischer retired in 75, basically, and nobody else got a chance to play him. Korchnoi, long time span. Korchnoi article. This is from last year. So Korchnoi is when he's got to the 9, and it says that he go back to it, but he's played and not managed to beat Kramnik and so that's what's sort of missing in his revision, as it were. This is just pointing out that it's 17 games against Annan and Kramnik. The gap here is talking about he missed Annan and Kramnik and so on. So you can see the way that's sorted out. Larson, very solid all the way through. And as well as same profile. I'm not going to X. If you're world champion, you actually kind of deserve an extra point on this thing. So just quite interesting. But maybe look at that at your own leisure. Hope you enjoyed that, and thank you very much for watching.